garden educators and buddies. I'm going to do a quick demonstration this morning on how to transplant. You might have gotten your plants from Soilborn, or maybe you picked up some plants from another place and you're ready to put them in your garden beds. One thing that I want to emphasize is you want to make sure you've removed all the weeds first, really cleaned your garden bed nicely, and hopefully watered it nicely so that the soil is moist, just like we did with our seeds. A couple things that are going to help you are to think about, first of all, what are you going to be transplanting? Is it very big when it's a whole plant? So for example, right here, I have some chives and I have lettuces, and I'm thinking about how big they're going to be when they get large, when they get grown fully, and deciding about how far apart I want them to go. So for chives, of course, they're going to grow up fairly tall and skinny. So I might think about my spacing being, fairly close together, giving them enough space to have a root system, but you could plant quite a few in a row. Lettuces, as you see, even these are getting a little bit bigger. So I might want to give them a little bit more space. And for those of you that might be planting kale or broccoli, those things, they get even bigger. So a broccoli plant, I might leave this far apart so that I have enough space for the plant to really get big. So as an educator, it can be helpful to pre-mark your beds and then remind students that they are not to pull out the popsicle stick until they're ready to put their plant in the ground. So they cannot lose the place. So here's how you might use even the popsicle stick to your benefit. Gently removing lettuces from a 6-pack would be squeezing the bottom a little bit, releasing the roots, gently pulling up. You can see that beautiful root system. So now I know about how big it's going to be. And I can actually take my popsicle stick in place and kind of start to create a nice little spot for that lettuce to go. Now I can set it aside, and if I need to make it a little bigger, I can just pull on it with my hand, gently tuck it in, and I want to make sure the roots are all the way in the ground. So one thing would be, I'm going to show you the wrong way to do this, and that would be if I just dig a tiny little hole right here and I set it, and then I mound up the soil. The reason this is wrong is because as soon as I water this, the soil is going to wash off the roots and expose them. And as we've been studying plant parts, roots really like to be in the ground. So that's one thing about transplanting. Let's just take a look at these chives, for example. Wow, look at all those roots. So you have the option here. This plant, we might plant it whole, and this might require more of a shovel, right? So as a teacher, you could place your shovels ahead of time. And then for a plant this size, I might pull the shovel towards me. I don't even really need to dig. Create the spot for the plant. Gently tuck it in. Again, roots all the way in the ground. But also with a plant like this, I might think about separating these chives out, which would have to be done very gently as to not ruin that great root system. But because these grow up pretty tall, they might be okay here together. So remember, you really don't have to be digging, and we should see no flicking of dirt. The best idea is just moving and creating a space for your plant to go in with either the popsicle stick, a shovel, or your hand. So now that you know how to space and how to put the plants in the ground properly, you're ready to go out and plant your garden beds and have them be beautiful and healthy spaces. Oh, and P.S., I forgot to tell you the most important part. Of course, you had moist soil to start, but you want to make sure to gently water your plants at the end. A nice sprinkler head, little watering can, or something that's going to be very gentle is important. Moisten the soil, don't drown the plants, but then do make sure that the plants are getting water every couple of days for sure, especially if it's super warm. Transplants need a lot of water to get adjusted to their space. Okay, good luck.